I see her rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots, and a sexy.
So to answer your question though, so we are going on vacation. We still need to figure out exactly where. So obviously we're not going very far. We originally planned to come to Florida and doing Disneyland and try to go see Ricky, but money didn't happen, and then hurricane happened, so we probably didn't want to come there anyways.
It wasn't shit in Orlando. Orlando might got
it
nailed.
wasn't shit to you.
Yeah, Orlando might have got nailed.
Yeah, I think us, the lower end of the coast definitely didn't go.
Yeah.
So we're planning on just road tripping it here in Texas. Originally, we were just thinking we'll hit up Dallas for a couple days like we normally do. Breweries, nice place to eat, stuff like that. Trip over to San Antonio or somewhere in that area.
Is that a big trip for you guys, Dallas?
Dallas is about 3.5 hours, but it's significantly different to Houston area, so it's worth it. It's a cooler vibe in some of the places, and I know Houston and Dallas have a major rivalry, blah blah blah. I don't give a shit. But also Nate Simmons lives near Dallas now, so that would give me a chance to probably meet him in person for the first time.
Why do I know that name?
Nate from
Nate's Toys or whatever.
Yeah, Nate's Toys, exactly. Nate's Toy Shop, R.I.P.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so he moved to Texas this year from California. So it would have been would be an interesting opportunity to actually meet with the guy if I could, because he lives Dallas area. He's not actually in Dallas proper,
which is massive. People don't understand how big that shit is.
Dallas Fort Worth, because it is one metropolitan area technically with a 15-20 mile gap. It just looks like a pair of testicles, and just kind of whatever. But Fort Worth,
but
not
even like the
nearly
outlying areas they call Dallas, like
it's huge.
My wife's family is all out there, and they live in some place called like not the Covenant or the Commune, but it starts with like a C.
Sure.
And it's like the Chamberlains or some shit like that. And it's like its own little thing, but it's part of Dallas, but it takes you 30 minutes to get to Dallas. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like us, we're not in Houston proper by any means. We're our own town, but we're 30 miles north of Houston. So, but we're in a significantly small city. I think we're probably the largest small city over here. But either way,
San Antonio's like way south from you, right?
I mean, San Antonio on a bad day is like 5 hours, depending on which way you go. But we were planning on hitting because I used to go to San Antonio a lot with my ex. Not to mention, I've got family in pretty much all the major cities in Texas. So Austin, San Antonio, Dallas, San Marcos kind of area. And so we're all kind of spread out. So I've got some cousins who live in Dallas. I've got aunts and uncles who live between Austin and San Antonio. So, I've been everywhere. But
which is the one you just did Johnny Cash. I've been everywhere, man.
Yeah. Which, by the way,
that's a lot of driving to get to the relatives.
Yeah. I mean, what's the one where y'all are at the restaurant and you saw your cousin and his family?
Oh, that was here. That was here.
That was there.
Yeah, but that's a cousin who lives in Dallas.
Okay.
And we were supposed to be in Dallas. That's why it was funny. So we didn't go on vacation. We were supposed to. And then we ran into my cousin who we would have seen if we went on vacation. That's why it was funny.
Gotcha. I remember it was something about they lived somewhere else.
Yep, that's exactly well remembered there. And by the way, speaking of music when it comes to TV and commercials, go check out our top 5 episode where we talk about songs from TV shows that are associated but not the actual theme song. So go check that out. Because that Johnny Cash song is now on Motel 6 or whatever, or Super 8 hotels.
Like Super 8 or
Travelocity. I don't know which one it is.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there. It's also on Hulu a lot. It's like also on Hulu commercials a lot. We were just talking about that in between recordings. But yeah, so we still haven't nailed down our vacation. Because the other thing we might do, still road tripping, but different method, was hitting up all the major barbecue joints across Texas. So
I just watched the Weird History on Food, the Weird Food History one or whatever, and they just did all the barbecue places, like the main ones across the U.S.
Yeah,
and man, I started salivating watching that shit. Texas has like 3 major different kinds of barbecue or some shit. I didn't realize it was like that.
Yeah, because we take influence from all the other ones too, along with the German and Czech style that also gets influenced in there.
They talk about that in there. Yeah.
Yep. I've watched plenty, believe me. But we actually have a barbecue capital of Texas. It's Lockhart. By law, it was voted in as the barbecue capital of Texas due to the sheer amount of barbecue places and the sheer amount of beef production and everything else like that.
The Eastern style, the Western style, or the Southern style?
All.
Oh, they do all of it.
Yeah,
because that's what this thing broke it down was like the Eastern side is more the vinegary sauces. The Western side's more like the sauces we think of when we think of barbecue sauce.
Yep.
And then Southern is more like the Mexican, like barbacoa type.
Yep. So,
no, we even noticed that when we were when you're like up here in northern areas like Maryland versus like in Raleigh, there's a definite difference.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm a Carolina barbecue guy myself
because you're pulling
vinegar based.
Because you're from in that area, you're actually pulling from Carolina and Kansas City, but not so much the southern influence, unless you've got people who've moved up there, or just had it and then they love it and move it up there. So you know, but when it comes to Lockhart specifically, what was funny is there were 3 places. It was Black's, Smitty's or Smith's, and Kreutz's. And there's rivalries, not just between rival families, but within families, which created these 3 major restaurants there. And I believe it's Black's and Smith's, which are a family that split off because one is so traditional, they won't even serve you like beans. It's like,
wow,
here's your meat, here's your onions, here's some bread, get the fuck over there, and you enjoy the amount of smoke that you're inhaling the whole time. Like when the walls are pitch black from being, you know, the smoker
smoked
inside
out
the whole time, you know, you could scrape some flavor off the wall for extra seasoning. You know, it's been there 110 years or some shit. So, I think that might be what we end up doing. She did want to see a little bit of the hill country, even, you know, and I always assumed the hill country was mostly just referring to Austin, but it's actually a little further away than actual Austin is.
I just think that's awesome how many different kind of like environments Texas has. Again, we talked about the size of Texas. People just forget because of how big it is, how different it is from one spot to the next there.
Yeah, if you drive from the easternmost border to the westernmost border, I think it takes something almost a whole day.
24 hours.
Almost a whole day.
It's
like
to get 24 hours if you follow the speed limits.
Yeah, and if you have a straight shot, that's the thing. I mean, I-10 is about your best shot to get straight across Texas as it goes. And even though Joe KW says it, Texas is not flat.
It's just where he went was flat.
However, it is fairly cleared out. So yes, you can see shit for a long ways, but he clearly was not in any hilly areas, you know, even though he was.
Can you see the basement to the Alamo from where you're at?
No.
So on a good day.
On a good day, shoot straight across. Well, I actually was watching one of Joe's live streams on his new Twitch on Saturday, and I think I commented, Texas ain't that flat, man. If you want to see flat, go to Kansas. You can see completely across that state in the dark. Yeah, it's like you can see Colorado.
It's not flat. The interstates make it like 50 feet high.
Yeah.
They're called the Great Plains for a reason. Being a flat surface.
I mean, there's rolling hills, but you can still see over them.
Yeah,
it's like
just stand on one.
You can see the mountains in Colorado for like 400 miles. Something like that. Because I remember this when I drove across Kansas and I got to watch the sun come up, which was really pretty. Don't get me wrong. But also witnessing road trains come at you from FedEx and UPS. That was interesting because I'd never seen that before. And the fact you just see the mountains looming in the distance and you're like, oh, that's really close. And then 3 hours have gone by and they're no closer. You're like, shit. You know, when you have no reference point for distance and something that big is just that far away, and it doesn't seem to get any bigger. But yeah, so Joe, Texas is not that flat. You just happen to drive through a flat part, and he mostly went through the Great Piney Woods, anyways. You know, it's like he went from Austin sort of, and then went diagonal up and north. You know, so he didn't really drive through much of real Texas.
He was heading towards Oklahoma and shit.
He drove through like Texarkana probably. If anything, you know, and whatever that might be. So yeah, so vacation, we're gonna nail it down. Worst case scenario, we'll spend a few days in Dallas because we like it up there. Just find some shit to do. She wants to go to a comedy show, which I'm definitely not opposed to. And Austin, because of Joe Rogan, has a new booming comedy environment going on. So maybe we'll swing over to Austin and check out a comedy show or two. That might be fun, I think. Oh, what sucks? Do you know who Brad Williams is?
Sounds familiar.
He's the little person comedian. He makes a lot of leprechaun jokes. He's gonna be in town when we're not. So it's like we're just gonna miss him coming to, I think, to Austin. I can't remember. She pointed out the other night. I was like, I would love to see Brad Williams. He's fucking hilarious.
And you can't change to get there a little earlier.
No, well, I mean, like, it depends on when it is. Like, so gotcha. I have to work all this week, including Saturday, and then I'm free, right? So we changed our plans. We were gonna go to the Renaissance the weekend we got back, but like just because we'd probably be tired from our vacation, we're actually gonna go to the Renaissance Festival the Sunday before we go on vacation. So this coming Sunday, we're gonna go to the Renaissance Festival. So that'll be fun. That'll be our yearly visit because we always go for her birthday roundabout. And it's the second opening weekend. No, it is the opening weekend. So that'll be fun. And I have a costume. So part of my upcoming week, I will have a costume. I need to find pants. So I got a shirt. I got some kind of like armor bits and stuff like that. And I need to find some pants that'll fit me because Amazon.
Is it like just a made up costume or is it based on a character?
No, it's just a whatever. It's very neutral.
Gotcha.
Quote unquote.
I was gonna say
barbarian.
I was gonna say knight, barbarian, or court jester.
Somewhere between barbarian and pirate.
I was going with bar winch.
No, the wifey thought about doing something like that, but getting a
surf.
Unfortunately, getting a costume in her size is super not easy. Being
small,
being a short and round person is not easy. Even I have that problem. thick in the middle and not super tall, so it's kind of hard to shop for costumes. I know Ricky also.
It's not easy when you're thick in the middle and you are tall. Trust me, it don't get
I know.
Better.
Just the thick in the middle. So the shirt I've got coming is actually it's sleeveless and it's got like the ties in the middle, so you can get some chest hair poking out. It'll fit around my chest with plenty of room, but it will be tight. Did you hear me
get erect when you said that?
I did.
Nice.
I heard it pop. So, and speaking of which, I need to put.
I'm going to need you to take that down about 20%, Ricky.
20%.
Yeah, right.
Is that what you appreciate about me, Shoki?
No, that's not. That's what I appreciates about you, Ricky.
Is that what you appreciate about me, Shoki?
Now you say the line. You guys fucked the whole setup up there. It's like you got all the references in the wrong order.
Dude, we're all fucked on that letter, Kenny, man.
Either way,
I hate you for making me watch that.
No, you don't. So either way, guys, welcome back to episode, I don't even know anymore. I think it's 28 of Now You Made It Awkward podcast. I think 27 is the one we recorded last week, so I think we're good there. Yes, 27. So we're on 28, almost 30. Yay.
Jesus.
We've done so many of these things.
I feel like we've done way more. Like we should be way further. It's all those extras.
If we were to count all the extras and bonuses as their own episodes, we would be at like 65.
Yeah, that's God damn it, you doubled just with bonuses. I don't think you understand how bonuses work.
Well, because the bonuses used to not be separate episodes, they were just clips that we just shortened for time. Now we're doing purposeful secondary episodes. So those things just count as extras or whatever. So just non-numbered content because there's no structure to those. It's just the conversation. So the structured
kind of like the Star Wars Black Series. There's no definitive numbering system.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like we got 27 regular episodes and 32 bonus episodes.
Yes, exactly. And 2 that have not been made public. So, one could be made public. It's just dumb. The other one is the one we're always in the air about.
Which one was the dumb one?
That's the one where it was titled, "This One Will Get Us Canceled."
You'll have to remind me later.
I don't remember that one. It was a racial discussion.
Oh, okay. Yeah, got a little off rails.
Well, it didn't really get off the rails. It's just we never concluded that it should be made public. It's not a bad episode. We just didn't all agree. But now Rob's here, so Rob needs to vote on whether or not it should be public.
Yeah. You have to send the link to us so we can listen to it.
I will. Well, you have, but it's been months. So either way, guys, I am Shoky. You can follow me at all the Shoky reviews, related things down below, including the merch store, which includes the merch for this show and all the other crap I do. And then we have Ricky over here.
What up?
And he does the promos on Facebook for Nerd Rage Radio, along with being a constant cast member on Friday nights on the Realm of Collectors YouTube channel and the Realm Hatton Project. I got started talking too quickly. I started going too fast.
Too many realms.
Too many realms, too many R's. We got Nerd Rage Realm Hatton Project. Ricky.
Nerd
there we
Rage
go.
Radio Realm Hatton Project.
Ricky. All the things. All right, and then of course we have Dormammu Rob over here.
Good evening.
Right.
Did you hear it that time?
I don't even know what that was. It was just.
I don't know what was it.
Exactly.
Did you hear that?
Hi everybody.
Hard? That was very sexy bed voice there, man.
Hello.
Now we know why his wife puts up with him. He wakes up saying shit like that to her.
Yeah, because it's clearly not for his time spent recording episodes. So we have to watch the clock to know exactly when he's going to pop out. All right.
He can't see me. He can't see the hand motions because the camera's not on. But there are hand motions, Shoky. There are hand motions.
Well, there's at least a finger motion.
Are they vertical or horizontal motions? Is it a fast movement or a slow movement?
Yes.
So either way, let's just get to rolling then. We'll start with our weeks. And I will go really quick because I don't have that much. It feels like we just recorded. I mean, we literally just recorded, but it also feels like not much has happened, realistically. And since we do have a lot to talk about Hasbro PulseCon, maybe we'll we'll speed through the TV show talk. So I did finish and completely rewatched Shorzy Season 1. So the first Letterkenny spinoff. And by the way, I don't know if I mentioned on here, but I did start watching the Little Kenny, which is the
cartoon one.
Which is cute. It's cute. It's a backstory for the characters and how they met. Is it the same actors? Yes, but they're playing kids.
So
they're doing kid voices. It's quite funny. When it comes to Shorzy, Jared Kiso, who plays Wayne, really does transform. Like, it's the same guy, but he is. You stop seeing him as Wayne like within the first few minutes, and like by the time episode 2 has come around, you don't see Wayne at all. Like, it's pretty cool how he manages to do that, and he really flexes his acting chops a bit more as Shorzy, which you guys by now have been exposed to Shorzy as a character in Letterkenny.
Yeah, well, his voice in the back of his head and his ass when he was upside down pissing in the shower.
Well, because he's always doing
that.
Yeah, he's always doing upside down push-ups and pissing in the shower and giving Riley and Jonesy some shit. Always.
Yeah, literally.
Give your balls a tug.
Yeah.
Fuck you, fuck you, Jonesy.
Tell your mom to quit calling me that. He's always talking about their moms.
Yeah.
Can you tell your moms to go pick up your other moms and bring them to my house?
Yeah. That's pretty much how it went down one time.
Right. Riley, tell your mom to refill my minutes on my cell phone that Jonesy's mom paid for me so that I can text them back. It's ridiculous.
And it's probably in there already.
By the way, guys, spoilers. He's not making up any of that.
What do you mean?
So you think that Shorzy is just talking crap or chirping, as they say? No, he's not making up any of that.
I don't think he's making it up. It sounds like some dirty shit he'd be doing.
So it sounds like a lot of shit he's just making up on the spot. Nope, it all happens. It's so when they reveal that, it's like holy. Anyways, all right. So what's really funny about it is it actually had the Shorzy, the show, actually has a lot of heart to it, and to me, it's probably the best hockey related thing since like the early Mighty Ducks movies. Like where you actually give a shit about the hockey team. You know, it's not, you know, it's an interesting show considering it's only 6 episodes. You know, it's much like Letterkenny itself is very short seasons. But like when it was over, I was like, because I had just binged all of Letterkenny as it was, I was like, I want more, because it came after season 10 of Letterkenny. So, you know,
now season 10 a final for Letterkenny, or is that just
no? It's just where they stopped because of COVID. That's so that's where that's where they left off. So either way, Ferda. So should we just go ahead and get that out of the way right now, since we're on that subject, because you guys took that recommendation to heart?
I'm having to take a break.
Yeah, and I'm almost I'm on the last episode of season 3 right now. So
yeah, and I want to point out that Dormammu started before I did, and I'm still in season 5 already. Slacker. But he's ahead of me on the other one.
Can I say
the Hella Boss or whatever?
I've also watched correct. I've also watched like 6 episodes of Hell of a Boss. I've also watched. I mean, I've watched a lot of media over the last week. I'm pacing myself. Okay.
Speaking of Hell of a Boss, I was intending to read Will's email that he wrote in, and I'm no longer seeing it. That's weird. It's like it's gone.
He can't take it back. There's no way to do that.
What if it got there? It is. Okay. No, it just sat there long enough that the thing just made it pop away. So I just reopened old emails. Okay. So y'all's thoughts on Letterkenny so far?
It's I enjoy it. There's parts I like a lot more than other parts, but when you are strong, my OCD kicks in when I'm binging something. Like I have to force myself to stop watching stuff when I'm binging it. And I have to take a break from it because it does get repetitive. And not so much the main story gets repetitive. It's more like those cold openings and some of the jokes that if you were watching just in spurts, it would just be, oh, that's a callback to this episode, and that's a callback to this episode. But when you're binging it, it's like, man, they just said that joke 2 seconds ago. Like I literally just heard it.
Yeah.
So I have to do it in parts. Like I'm taking a little break from it. I'll probably just take a week off and then go ahead and finish it out because I'm halfway. But when you watch it back to back, it gets repetitive.
Yeah. Considering how
especially
much
the main parts.
Considering how much you've watched, like I was going 2 seasons at a time and then watching other things. So because like two seasons together is roughly 1 season of a normal show. So it's not that big a deal. And usually every 2 seasons is like a plot.
Yeah,
big a solid plot.
These ones have pretty good twists. I that's why I say the main story, it doesn't bother me. Like it doesn't have too much of that, oh, this is repetitive in the main, like when you get past that cold opening and once the Letterkenny pops in and then they move into the actual story, they got pretty interesting stories and they don't get too bogged down. The Skids guys get more repetitive than anybody.
They are, but okay, so where are you at right now? Season 5? Thereabouts?
The wedding was one of the last ones.
Okay, so the wedding So the wedding was when him and Tanis were
decided
dating.
They weren't going to bang up.
Exactly.
They weren't going to bang or they weren't going to date or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, that was like all in that general area. I'm in that general area.
Okay. So the development of the Skids gets real interesting over time. Like Stuart.
They sent him to rehab. That was the last episode I watched. They sent what's his face to rehab. I haven't seen the conclusion of that episode yet.
So here's the thing, and I'll say this, not a giant spoiler. They have a habit of doing holiday episodes. Like in the interim.
I saw the Christmas one.
So they do Christmas and they do Valentine's and I think they do Halloween, if I remember correctly. Yeah, they do a Halloween episode, which is
they did
fucking
Halloween fun. One with the one where they had the haunted spooky dick or whatever.
Right, and then St. Patrick's was season 1.
St. Patrick's Day was great. So those happen slightly outside of canon because you'll see Stuart in the Valentine's Day episode, and that's when he should be at rehab. Gotcha. And he's drinking, so that you'll see that and it'll be real confusing. Also, Stuart has a significant visual change after rehab.
Cuts his fucking hair off.
Everything about it is weird. And by the way, I could not figure out for the longest time who Stuart was, like why I knew him, and he was from Supernatural.
I wouldn't know that.
He was from he's the angel Samandriel, the one that got taken in by he was getting tortured to learn the truth about angels and stuff like that. So like it was like I was like, who the fuck is this guy? It's bothering me.
I'll say one of the episodes that had me almost pissing myself laughing at it was when they introduced the character Gay.
Yes. Okay, so
literally that episode where she's like, "I'm gay," and Rold's like, "I'm gay," and she's like, "No, I'm gay." He's like, "No, I'm gay." Like they had this whole
back and
forth.
Went
on. Like you would think it would get old after a while, but I was laughing.
You're still laughing the whole time.
Fucking ass off the whole entire time. I'm like, "Oh my god, it's her fucking name, you idiot!" And then she would say it again, and I'm like, "No, he's fucking gay. Like he likes dudes," and like they were just going back.
And she's like, dying. "My name is Gay." Yeah,
and that's how it finally ends.
So I actually kind of liked Gay's character, even though it made no sense when she was introduced. Like she just showed up
quick too.
Yeah,
like she was.
But she was there for essentially a whole season.
Yeah,
right. And
you forget like 3-4 episodes. Yeah, almost a whole season.
She'll come back. No spoilers.
Oh, she does. She came back for the rehab thing. She's the one forcing him to go to rehab,
and she comes back again after that. So, in the next season, she's there again.
Boys, whatever happened to the other
spoilers?
I know, but I'm not giving you what happens. I'm just telling you.
Yeah, I'm not giving you anything big.
I know. Come on, get it together now.
What happened to
your spare parts, bud?
The
other
skid. I can't remember his names. Who?
The other skid, Darren or something like that.
Yeah. The tall blondish colored skid.
Yeah, the one that was like took over when Stewart.
Yeah. What happened to him? Does he come back?
No, he actually. I looked into it, and the guy actually got tired of just being a perpetual side character and just said fuck it and left. So they mentioned that he was gone and he wasn't coming back in the show.
Yeah, and like it was like a real quick, like they didn't make a big deal out of it.
They just didn't make a deal out of it. Yep, he just quit because he didn't want to be. Because the other two skids in the background, who I don't know their names, they only say them.
Like, the bearded ones.
Yeah, the really weird guys. They stay there the whole time. They're barely even mentioned by name, so they're there.
Yeah. Rolled cracks me up. It's not so much. It's not even so much the things that he says. It's his physical actions.
Dude, like he's so.
The things that I hate most about Gail. Is it Gail? The Haitian lady that owns Modine's. Yeah. I hate her physical actions. Like they drive me crazy.
The hip motions and the arm swinging.
Yeah, and like all the dry humping, and it makes
that gets better.
It feels very forced, and it feels very. Ironically enough, in this show, it feels very juvenile.
Yeah,
and that says a lot.
It's also super cringe.
Yes, that might be it.
Gail is the definition of cringe compared to the rest of it, and it's on purpose,
forced and very doofy. But like when Rold does it, it seems like natural to him. Like he reminds me of this. This is the deep one. Oliver and Company.
Mm-hmm.
He reminds me of Cheech's Chihuahua movie
because he also wears a headband.
And he does that little like that kind of like jittery fucking shit, and it cracks me. I don't know what it is about him. He cracks me up, dude.
Yeah,
I like it. That's my thoughts on it. Dormammu's been pretty quiet. What's your thoughts?
You go ahead, Rob.
So personally, like I find like I'm enjoying it a lot, and it's because you see the different groups, whether it's the farmhands,
they're called the Hicks,
or the Hicks, the Degens, all of them.
Shirts.
Right, like all of them have a certain amount of development.
All of them,
and it's that development. Like there are. How do I explain it? It reminds me a lot of several other shows where they kind of like they give you these very flat characters, and then they start filling them in very slowly and building on it and building on it and building on it. I absolutely love Wayne as a character because he comes off as so he comes off so serious and
so robotic, like even in its motions.
So right, but at the same time, like he's got such a big heart, and it's just
the way he enters
nature of the
way he enters doors. He squares up, pulls the door open, goes inside, squares back up, turns around, closes the door.
Right. The way he stands up off of a chair.
Yeah.
Straight up, arms out, shoulders up. Yeah.
Shoulders up, yep.
Jared Kiso's physical comedy is so good. Yeah. Okay, so real quick though, I mentioned it before when I got you guys to watch the show. So the cold open with the baby conversation. when they were talking about the intelligence of babies.
Is that the one where he's like,
yes,
when he's talking about screaming and crying and
stuff?
Yeah. Oh,
okay,
God, that
I
one was
pissed myself laughing.
Yes. That one and the baseball catching one.
The baseball catching one is great.
When Squirrely Dan starts talking about getting a finger in the
butt. Yep.
And like they don't say anything. They just stop throwing the ball.
Stop throwing the ball. And they start throwing it harder. Yeah. They start throwing it because they're just like, no.
Dude, so oddly enough, the finger in the butt thing, one way or another, comes back repeatedly.
Always.
Okay, so their callbacks, like they'll do a lot of callbacks within the same episode, right? But then one thing that's great is they'll do a callback from 3 seasons ago. And one of my favorite ones is the difference between a double knuckler and a triple knuckler.
Triple knuckle, yeah. Arguing out how many knuckles a person
How many
has.
knuckles it takes to
And then are you talking about knuckles side to side? Or are you talking
exactly. So that comes back like 2 seasons later after the first time they had a conversation. And then it comes back again in season 10. I was like, nice. Damn, the old callbacks.
Really call back to that shit.
But
so one of the things that made me giggle a lot too was Stewart's yelp.
Yes.
Like there's that, like I think it was the same episode with the baseball catching one where they just hit him, they beam him with the baseball.
Yes.
And later in the episode they beamed him with like
because that's when
one.
he was staying with them. Yeah.
Yeah. Like every time, like, and I don't know what his yell.
Or when he thought they weren't going to do it. And he thought he beat him, and then they hit him with something else.
Exactly. Shit, dude. I have to say there's a lot about this show that cracks me up. There's a lot where I'm just like, I don't know what the fuck's happening because they're using words that I don't know.
Yeah.
And especially Jonesy and Riley, like when they get on their little
they're
roles,
their own language. They're their own hockey language.
You
gotta learn it. So you gotta learn it so you two can become puck funny.
And they're talking to each other for like 5 solid minutes. That gets old fast after a while.
The Puck Bunny episode.
Yes, where Kate was gonna fight Allison.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Which is the other part to it, which I find is like the whole thing between Katie and Wayne and as a brother and sister, like
their relationship is so. I was gonna say weird, but it's not.
He's very protective of her, but he's very
protective. Yeah, right, exactly.
But he lets her be her own person.
He keeps telling her to put clothes on.
Yeah, they keep touching on like some very serious topics, and they handle it in a normal way, if that makes any kind of sense. Like when they did the blinds where they were going to beat up the D-gens.
Yeah.
When they were coming into their fishing hut or whatever.
Yes.
And they had that whole conversation of what would bring in a D-gen, and then they're like homosexuals. And one guy said it's One guy said it another way. And the one guy's like, I don't think you could say it that way anymore. That's not very PC. And then the other guy says it a whole completely worse way. He's like, that's definitely a no-go.
Yeah.
And like the way they handle shit like that, it very much feels like a conversation you'd have with just a group of people you're hanging out with. It doesn't feel forced and in your face. It's just it's there. It exists. People that don't understand it are going to question it. They're going to say stuff they're not supposed to. But everybody handles it. They don't immediately just start fucking each other up. Oh, you said the wrong thing. You're the fucking word. No, you can't say that anymore. These are the reasons why. And
so I think it's also it leads to a lot of honest conversation.
Yes, it does. And that's the thing about the show. It is honest conversation between friends and or relatives that you would have with your own dipshit friends and relatives. And sometimes it's serious. Yeah, sometimes it's serious, and then other times it's super goofy. Now, one of the best ones I love is when the porch. By the way the show is shot is kind of brilliant. So usually they're sitting in front of the produce cart when they open, or sometimes they're in the kitchen at the kitchen table. But when they're on the porch and they purposely obscure their faces with the whole porch rail, I was like, most people wouldn't do that because you want to show your star's face. They said, fuck it, it adds an interesting layer. But one of the funnier part was, I forget exactly the conversation they were having, but Wayne makes a solid joke and Derry and Squirrely Dan keep talking and he turns away from them and comments, nobody liked my joke, nobody even commented.
Nobody liked my joke.
And then he comes, it almost looked like
I don't appreciate that nobody laughed when I made
that was great because it almost looked like he was breaking the fourth wall, but he wasn't. He was just looking away from them and the camera just happened to be there. Like,
dude, the Shark Tank episode.
I told y'all
fucking
I told y'all that was gonna be amazing.
It was really spot on.
And
that one had me.
Do you need any water, Bonnie? No, thanks, Wayne.
Yeah, like who the fuck was Bonnie talking to?
I don't. They never said whether she had a camera there. Or
there was no camera. They weren't filming this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's very.
She gets
weird.
down from the like and she's like trying to walk off screen.
Yeah, and she goes the wrong way, and
it is very like it's so it is good. Like the parts that are good are really good.
It knows the show knows exactly what it is.
Yeah, it's no meat to me watching it. It's either it's annoying me because it's when it does annoy me, it's very little parts.
Yeah,
it's either annoying me or it's fucking perfect. Like it doesn't really have a middle ground. Like it's one or the other. There's never just anything okay happening.
That's what I said about the show. I think when I told you guys, it's like you're gonna watch it, you're gonna have two reactions. You're gonna hate it and not want anything to do with it, or you're gonna love it. And that's really how it works. But scene to scene, even you're like, this is so bad, I can't stand it, and then it goes immediately to one of the best things you've ever seen. It's
the Tannis and Wayne conversation when they were deciding they weren't good to date each other.
Yeah,
like
when they kept picking each other apart.
Yeah, but it was interesting. Like he's like, you can be anything that you want to be because you're a woman, or however he phrased it. And she said, can be, and he's like, correction, I'm sorry, you should be anything. Like just the way he they talk to each other, and that again, that's a very deep conversation, but it was funny the way they were having it. And it was, I gotta say, it's pretty good, man. It's not the greatest show I've ever seen, but it's pretty damn good.
No, it does. The writing is very good. It's got a very good flow. It's got some. It definitely has some hiccups in certain points where it's like, okay, you're changing the pacing a little bit from what you're on, but sometimes in the same respect, again, and it's a lot of character build into it. It is short watches. So you're
question.
The seasons are 6, 7 potentially or 6
or 7 episodes.
Yeah.
Episodes per season. So you can take it at a clip, kind of like Shoky mentioned, but I think also like you're not going to get completely tired of the characters because they keep. And it's not because it's there's enough of it too where it's not like constant like slapstick jokes or
and even the parts that annoy me, like the cold openings, I can't force myself to skip them because they're still funny in their own way. It's just I've heard that joke already, but they're still doing it well enough for me to want to watch it again.
So there's always plenty of puppers too, all the way through.
Always puppers. In the literal sense and in the figurative sense, because
I literally had to resist this morning telling my son as we're walking to school because we saw a lady with a 13-week-old puppy. Hey son, look at that pupper.
Yeah, exactly.
And let me tell you, Shoky, are you sitting down?
Yeah, always.
Katie's not the hottest thing on that show.
Katie is super hot.
She's alright.
But, and I fully admit this, there are lots and lots of, and you guys judging around about where you're at, more hotter women will be coming into the show.
The French chick that likes dairy,
Nick,
she's hot.
Yeah. So that episode was interesting, because when they go to Quebec for the Bacdo.
Yes, and the way that all three of them said Quebec different cracked me up. Like
Quebec.
Best fishing in Quebec. Yeah,
I love fishing in Quebec.
Love fishing in Quebec. Best fishing in Quebec. Oh, the fish are great in Quebec. Dude, okay, first of all, that first episode when they went to Quebec, as they were, oh my god. Okay, so much of this show just stays in the story. They met the French guys, they gave them shit, they fought they fought with them, then they fought alongside them, and then they continue to be side characters in the show. And I was going to say side character build up all the way from episode 2 of the Super Soft birthday party, which, by the way, Rob,
shit, dude, I want to do that to somebody so
funny.
First of all, Rob went to a birthday party with horses the last time we talked, and I did not
get me started.
I did not get the Super Soft birthday party reference in there in time because you guys were just into watching it. So okay, so
carrot on his forehead, make it a unicorn.
But Joint Boy. So Joint Boy was introduced in that episode as a dude contending to be the toughest guy in Letterkenny.
I love that episode.
Okay, so Joint Boy stays a permanent side character in the show after that point. So does Tyson, who also, I don't know, he should be in there by now. He's got the tattoo on one that looks like a young Vin Diesel. So,
and Joint Boy reminds me of the one who
the other guy
that plays Heat Wave.
Yeah,
he's like, he was also in Prison Break. He was
Prison Break. Dominic something. I forgot his name. Irony, his name is Dominic.
Yeah, when I see him, he reminds me of him.
I think it's Dominic Purcell. But it's so funny they have people who look like other people in there. What's funny, like Jonesy and Riley and the whole hockey thing with Letterkenny Irish, and by the way, like the coach is like so one note for like the longest time, and then he picks up a second note and then pretty much stays in that. But it's funny, like the development that some characters get, and then the sheer stagnation by force of will is actually kind of funny with other characters in the show.
The spelling bee was hilarious.
The spelling bee episode was insane. Yeah. Like, okay, so Tanis, I thought Tanis was only going to be a quick little antagonist that they work through and then never see again. She is like so integral to the rest of the show. It's crazy. But
and what's the guy's name? Jay Brushamel or whatever the hell his name is? The Hard Right?
Yeah, Hard Right Jay when he came in. What the fuck was that episode?
Fucking God, that episode was nuts.
That episode was out of nowhere, and they don't ever do that again. The
Chiefs thing, like I was laughing so hard. I was like, oh my God, that feels like everything we're dealing with our football teams and stuff here.
But that was the point. Because he was American. Remember, he was American going to Canada to have that fight.
And they fucked him up. And I love how Wayne and them stepped in and beat his ass. Like, beat all the Hard Right people's ass. Like, they were in the wrong. And they were not supposed to be there.
Nope.
So Wayne and his people jumped their asses.
Yeah. So, like, I don't know.
All right, we're going to have to...
We'll move on from the Letterkenny episode is what it is.
It's good. Everybody go watch it.
Everybody go watch it and make decide for yourself.
Exactly.
And then watch Shoresy immediately after because it's really good. And most of it is shot within an actual hockey arena, surprisingly.
Nice.
Oh, but I was going to ask, between the two of you, which version of Modine's are y'all on?
Modine's 2 just burned down where I'm at.
Okay. Spoilers. I don't know where Rob's at, but yeah, it's just fun.
Modine's burn. I think it's a running gag that they always.
It's a running gag that Modine's always burns down off season.
Yeah,
but like it sticks around long enough. But what's funny is one of the new sets they bring in because Modine's burns down. I completely take to heart, and you'll see why when you get there if it hasn't happened already. So just going on with the rest of my week, just TV shows. She-Hulk, fine. Fine episode, don't care. It was fine. Actually, I enjoyed this episode with the whole therapy session for Jen and all that kind of stuff. I thought it was just a nice episode and helping her deal with her nonsense. I know Rikki probably hated it.
But I feel like it just gives her the acceptance she needs so that we can actually move on to better plot.
Move on to actual plot. Yeah. So
or 6 and 7 or 7 and 8 or whatever.
We only got like 2 episodes left and we're still fucking
exactly. Yeah.
And like it'll just be like solid plot from here on out. I'll just like that episode, but obviously the reveal at the end with the guy she dated was like, okay, so yeah, now the background. I always said about the show, the plot is happening around Jen, but she's not a part of it until she's finally going to be a part of it near the end of it. We still haven't got Daredevil yet. House of the Dragon, last night's episode was insane.
Don't mention anything because I tried to watch it this morning.
I'm not spoiling it.
I usually watch it on my phone while I'm in the morning getting ready, but it was another one of those dark episodes. I couldn't see half of it, so I stopped it. I need to watch it on the TV. So
and I will say, Rob, did you watch it?
I have not yet.
Okay, so I won't spoil anything. That's why I didn't want to go into anything immediately. They do an entire chunk that is a day for night shot. And it's kind of annoying because it's definitely not happening at night, but they play it off as it's a super moon that's lighting everything, but you could tell it's just fucking daylight.
It's a blue filter.
Yeah, super. But I will say, remember we talked about Vagar and like the size was not quite shown very well? Yeah. Holy shit.
They fix it.
You see how big Vagar is in this episode. And I was like, okay. Never mind what I said last week. Now, mind you guys, the last episode we recorded has not been edited or outputted at the point that we're recording this one. So, y'all don't know what we're talking about just yet, but you will when, because that's how time travel
By the time
works.
you hear this.
Yes. Lord of the Rings is just getting better and better.
How many more episodes are left?
Yeah, the entire battle scene All of it just was oof.
The fact that plot happened, major plot happened.
Yeah. Yes.
I was
yes.
and
y'all feel free to fire away. I'm not watching until it's all over.
Well,
so
okay, the orc battle was great.
Right. Yeah. So this was the build up to basically in the Southlands, the orcs finally coming to basically take out the
tower,
the rest of the tower, and right. And so it felt like a very miniaturized battle of
Helm's Deep
from Helm's Deep. Yes.
And so the entire way that they ran that battle was great because it averted expectations. Actually, this entire episode just kept subverting expectations because it ends completely different from where you feel like it was going, and you finally see what the orcs were up to the whole time and what the entire plan was from their point of view finally gets revealed, and you're like, oh, holy shit. Okay. And I feel like the only reveal they're holding back is that Leo has elf ears, and they're just not bothering to pull his hair over his ears yet. For those who don't know. Okay, everybody went quiet. What happened?
I'm just listening to y'all talk because I don't have any input on this.
Yeah, no,
it's fine. It's just when it goes silent, I have nothing to know. Yeah.
No, I like again, this is where money makes the series go better, because the effects were very, very nicely done. Like everything worked together in a way that you expected it to happen this way, but at the same time you're like, oh, this works. It feels very on brand to a Lord of the Rings type, Lord of the Rings series and how it should be. And so it's still not boring to me. I'm loving it, and I'm loving the little bits of character development as it goes through.
Yeah, and like you said, the money is definitely more on screen now, especially with that final explosion. Holy shit!
Right, exactly.
Also, how is anyone going to survive that? I mean, that's pyroclastic flow.
I don't know. Like I had some Pompeii moments there.
Yeah, that was straight up pyroclastic flow. People are going to all be dead, but we all know that they don't die, so somehow they survive this. It's like somehow Palpatine returned. Exactly. But I like that this episode we didn't get anything from the Harfoots at all, because this part of the story needed to happen without them, entirely. Right. So, but it seemed like almost all the other stories finally came together in one spot. So that was except for the elves and dwarves. We're not there yet. So we got the stuff with Elrond, and then Harfoots all happen. That'll be next episode, I assume.
Right.
But seeing Galadriel finally get to do some of the things she's been wanting to do, and finally get out some angst, and then have that whole conversation with Adar. And they're literally just two sides of the coin.
I felt like that was the best part. Like,
yeah,
because you see the there's not that much of a difference between her and Halbrand.
Yeah.
And exactly where they stand on their own sense of justice and vengeance.
Yeah, justice and vengeance are the same thing half the time.
Right. So by the time you're like and they're counterbalancing each other in like, hey, step back.
So Rikki,
you need to step back.
We talked a while back about this show, and I think you were talking about how like originally the orcs were meant to be corrupted elves and stuff like that. I think you talked about.
I think that was the original story.
Yeah, so
I don't know if that was our conversation or from
I think we talked about it a few weeks ago. We mentioned it. And what's interesting about this show is it is going by that logic, whereas the movies kind of didn't. Like they talked
kind of breezed over it.
Yeah, they briefly talked about it, but this one really, especially with Adar was definitely is basically the original orc.
You're mispronouncing Altair.
No, that's not what his name is. So, but
very nice, nicely done, right?
Yes, yeah, but he is definitely an elf that's been corrupted versus what we see as the current Uruks, as he says.
Is this the one where I'd already heard last week that everybody thinks he's supposed to be Sauron?
Oh, he's not Sauron, and he makes that clear. Okay. This
is the one. Okay, spoiler alert for a show I've never even seen. He's the one who beat the dude to death for calling him.
Except he didn't beat him to death. All he did was smack him. because the dude is the one who makes the plot happen. So yeah, we finally see what the broken sword was for, which was a really cool effect. But like, holy shit, yeah, nobody saw that one coming. Realistically,
yeah, exactly.
No one saw that coming, except maybe people who read the books. But
well, when I watch it, I'll see it coming now.
Well, maybe. Well, you'll know that something's coming. You won't know what is coming.
Something's coming.
Unless you heard the spoilers.
And you know.
But also those effects.
The spoilers are if you've already watched the first. You know, if you've already watched the.
And I'm just busting y'all's balls. I don't care. Y'all can give this away. I don't.
Well, no, but I don't. We don't want to spoil it for everyone. But either way,
the
that did not see that coming.
For all y'all, there's orcs, there's elves, people walk a lot, there's rings, and there's a bad guy.
No, we were on horses. We were on horses this one, so we weren't walking a lot. They were riding really
animal
fast.
Abuse.
They were riding really fast.
Shut that shit down.
Yeah. Also, I like that we're getting what's his face is getting a little bit of character development, not just being a spoiled brat. Because
the elf.
No, no, the future king when he finds the ring. That dickhead. Either way, so like he went from being a spoiled dude. The battle was really good. Everything was nice. It was a good episode. Last up
it felt longer
Andor.
Than it really was.
I forgot to include Andor on the list.
Andor's awesome. You're still going, so you can include
no. I mean, I forgot to write it down that I watched it. That episode where we went to Coruscant. Damn, like that, like seeing all that happening, and then like the what is his name, Lathan. Or Lathon, either way.
Seen him switch over to being like an ambassador type person.
Slapping on the wig, like cleaning up his face, changing a thing. Now he's a multi-millionaire selling quote unquote antiques. Dude, like seeing how the underground is happening and how the rebellion is being built from underneath. And then like we get a very Rogue One aspect thing on the other side with Cassian where he gets dropped off with the people who need to go do the thing and nobody trusts him. They're like, you're bringing in somebody at the last minute. We've been working on this for years. We have 3 days till we got to go and you're pulling this nonsense. Or it was 5 days.
I like how she's like, we have one rule. We don't talk about him.
Yeah, exactly. Don't mention him. So, and then lastly,
I also like you have overnight to study, and then we get going in the morning.
Exactly. Here's your languages. Here's all your nonsense.
Here's the cram exam.
Overnight,
this whole entire thing's gonna last 1/20,000th of a second, so you gotta be right on time.
Exactly. But that next episode should be interesting, where they're invading that base to get the info that they want. So that'll be fun. And lastly, I will talk about the worst thing I've seen in a while. And that is Rob Zombie's version of the Munsters. And when I say it's the worst thing I've seen, it was so bad, it elicited nothing from me. I didn't hate it.
Have you ever walked out on a movie, though?
No.
You've never gotten up from a theater and just left?
Nope. Never have. Now, this, if I'd gone to theaters, I might have. Depending on how much money it cost me to get in the door, because otherwise I'm going to sit there and suffer because I've already spent the money. Like when it's a $3 matinee, sure. Yeah. If it's an $8, like just to get in the door plus $75 worth of food and drinks for the two of us, yeah, then I'm going to sit there and suffer.
$8 must be nice to live where you live, dude.
Well, I was just throwing it out there.
It's like $15. It was $10 here.
It was $10 like for the cheap theater. Now it's up to 15. Exactly. It's up to 15 for the main theater now, but it's still the $12 matinees now. I say still, it went up, but either way, I'm glad this movie was on Netflix. Didn't go to theaters because that would be, well, it would actually you'd see how bad it flops. It's on Netflix.
Should I waste my time?
No. If you love the Munsters, do not watch this movie.
I mean, they're okay.
And I don't mean that as in, oh, he ruins everything, because it's lore that we technically never got. It's the backstory of how everybody met and how the family came together.
The way you were trying to explain it to us before was it's like he was taking the shot, like he was lining up his shots right. Like to take his shot.
He missed every
time
shot.
He'd pull the trigger, he'd pull it.
Yeah.
He'd pull his shot.
So the story is fine. Like the actual story, the plot, well, if you want to call it a plot, fine.
Did the green skin bother you on?
No, it honestly doesn't bother you after a while.
Okay.
It goes from the neon absurdity to eventually just blending in. Because he changes outfits a lot, so the skin doesn't really bother you that much. And he doesn't wear his classic Herman outfit until the very end of the movie. So, and then, not necessarily a spoiler, but at the very end, literally the very, very end, they replicate the original intro in black and white, all that nonsense. But
they come out the door waving and all that shit.
Yeah, all that shit. Now, the other thing is, I know that Butch and Marilyn, the original ones, are or Eddie and Marilyn, are in here somewhere. I just don't know who they are in the...
It's funny, I was going to ask you if they made a big deal about those cameos in there.
They're in there, and I'm not sure who they are, because I know what Butch Patrick looked like, but I have no idea. I think I know who the Marilyn actress was, because there's only one real human female that is on screen for a decent amount of time, because they're in Transylvania to begin with, so everybody's monstrous. So the one thing that is funny is they do the thing that the show always did. When they interact with normal people, everyone just acts terrified and runs away or clears out. So they take all of the notes of the original show.
You went super dead. We didn't hear anything you said.
Yeah, exactly.
When you said there was only one human lady, from that point forward, you were completely dead. I was asking if anybody was even here.
We're so sorry, Rob Zombie. We know you were listening.
That's weird, because it recorded on my end, so that's weird. That must have been a Discord problem. So
he cursed your speech.
That was a Discord hiccup, because it was still recording the whole time. Well, that's what happened to me a minute ago when I didn't hear you guys do anything. Discord? So either way, so what I was saying is, they're in Transylvania, so everybody's monstrous, right? And then when they interact with regular people, when they go outside of Transylvania, everybody runs away, screams, because they're monsters. And of course, they don't have any concept that they're different and other people are not, So they try to take a lot of the silly tropes that the TV show established and bring it into this, but there's no heart behind it. It's weird. Like, everything they do falls flat to me. So I don't know.
That's sad. It makes me sad, because I think I mentioned this. I love the show as growing up. So it's like,
I wanted it to be good, but to me it wasn't even good enough to be bad.
That's sad,
in my opinion. Now, other people might absolutely enjoy it. Some people might. Oh, and I'll say this. So, you remember their dragon under the staircase? Spot?
Yeah, Spot.
Yes. Uh-huh.
They show you how they get Spot.
Okay.
And then completely forget that he exists after that.
Wow.
So when they do the final chunk of the plot, which is how they get to America, they just throw everything away.
So they just had a checklist and they just wanted to knock all
every
the
single
off.
Thing is everything is by the numbers, whatever they set it for. And like I said, part of it is amusing. Seeing these characters, how they were created in the literal sense, is fine. And I laughed a little bit more at like the beginning, in a couple spots, and then after that it was just like, this is something that's on. It wasn't. Maybe if they had not made it look like a brand new movie, maybe they added like an old filter to it,
like a sepia tone or something.
Not even sepia tone, just made it look like it was recorded in the 70s, and maybe do it in 4x3 just for the fuck of it.
Gotcha.
Maybe it would have made it more interesting.
Right, like an old Super 8 filming.
Make it look like it's the show. Because when they switch it to black and white at the very end for the outro, then it's like, oh, well, hell, it's like almost like if they had given us that the whole time, might have been worth it. But it's interesting to see where they all came from and how they got there, but you just don't care that it happened at all.
Do they explain Grandpa having the mutton chops?
No, it's just because of when it's happening.
Okay.
It's just that's how he looked before.
Okay.
Because Grandpa's a badass.
Yeah, Grandpa's just been around forever. Like, it's just what it is, But like the plot of how they get to America is so stupid. Like, everything else flowed up until that point, and then it's just suddenly, oh, we need to get here. Like, and just, it's so dumb. Oh, but they do explain how, in a way, they explain how a vampire mating with a Frankenstein creature makes a werewolf. So,
okay.
If you ever wondered how they had a child, like how Eddie was a werewolf, they actually kind of give you the answer. Incidentally. And it took me a minute to realize, because I didn't realize who the character was at first. And then they flat out said it. I was like, oh, okay, this is how they're explaining that. All right, cool. We'll just go with that. And also,
Zombie needs a puppers.
Yeah.
Rob Zombie needs to take down about 20%.
No, and he needs a Gus and Brew.
Yeah.
But either way, other than that, I've just been plowing through Double October. As I've told you guys repeatedly, building, editing, often at the same time. Earlier, before we started doing this, I already knocked out one review and edited several vlogs and shit.
Those fucking shitheads better appreciate all the work you fucking do for that shit.
They never do until years later. When it goes up, normally nobody watches it that much, and then they'll come back in like 3 months when they realize it was there, and then I'll just start plowing through it. But this is my yearly algorithm boost, is really what it is. It's like, because I don't put out a content this consistently any other time throughout the year, and considering this is the final one in its current configuration, they better fucking appreciate all the work I'm doing. Because I didn't have to kill myself last year, and I barely killed myself the year before. This year I'm killing myself to do it, and it's draining on me. But I'm down to the last
you're doing like
five
super streak of Gundam builds, right?
It's a lot of Gundam builds. Then I have to review the
now
things.
You'll be able to tell me exactly which one I want.
Well, I could do that beforehand. We just haven't had that. We haven't sat down to actually have that conversation.
You like throw words at me, and I'm like, oh, okay, that doesn't make any sense to me. And there's like 1/100th, 1/2000th, 600th, 1/8.
There's only a very short set of actual scales, so it just depends. If you want the big one, okay, there's your big one. And then very last, I forgot to mention this a couple weeks ago when we were talking about it. I did jump in on the Rippaverse pre-orders. If you guys have ever heard of the Rippaverse.
Why does that sound familiar?
So
I've seen them. I just had no interest.
Yeah.
Is that the comic you were telling us about, like the independent comic or whatever?
So it's a fully independent comic by Eric July, otherwise known as Young Rippa. He's a rapper, YouTuber, and now comic book creator. Yes, he's all the things, because he got tired of the same old bullshit tropes that and we've talked about this, where comics are just recycling the same shit. Oh, we get to a certain point, reboot the whole universe. Let's just do this. Oh, we need to gender or color swap a character to fit in with whatever narrative is currently big in social context. Let's just knock that out. And he flat out said, we're not doing any of that nonsense. It's like, we're setting our characters, we're giving them their characterization, we're not doing universal reboots, we're not doing time travel to do none of this nonsense, we're not doing multiverses. We're just doing the characters as they are, and we're telling cohesive stories based on what the characterization, not making changes just to follow whichever way the wind is blowing. So his first, they're currently shipping, like right now, and he's running behind because there's been some issues because I'm getting weekly updates. And apparently it's shipping out of Texas, so it shouldn't take me too long once he actually does ship it. But his first issue is 96 pages. So it is a huge deal, and comes with kind of you could get t-shirts, hat, poster, all kinds of shit, depending. And by the time I jumped in, only the C variant cover was available. Because you could get it signed, you could get different cover variants and stuff like that. But I'm looking forward to it, because it's an interesting character to me. First of all, it's a black character, a black man character as it is, who apparently starts out. He gets his powers when he's young, and then does some crime fighting for a little while, and then shit happens, and then he stops for like a long time. And then I guess whatever happens, he comes back as much later in life, to start back over being a superhero. So
isn't that just Black Lightning?
I mean, to a degree, but he doesn't have those powers, for instance. So I mean, they're still building it out, but this is the first character / first, run of the comic. Gotcha. So he wants to build out a whole thing. The biggest issue with them was that Patreon, if I remember correctly, Patreon would not allow them to crowdfund due to Eric's political leanings. And then after he had taken an enormous amount of pre-orders through his own website, PayPal, and he hasn't updated anything, so it's been a few weeks. For months now, PayPal has been holding on to over over $1.2 million of theirs and won't give it to him. And they're going against their own contracts, their own rules about paying it out. And they just pulled some nonsense to where they can give them a little bit over time every like 60 days when they revisit it. So it's a lot of nonsense, and it's all because of his political leanings. So, it kind of sucks. So when it comes to independent creators, especially when somebody who's going up against the main, as it goes, comic book companies who also don't like him because he's had artists come after him, artists and writers come after him. At least on Twitter, I should say, because that's where everything happens nowadays. So it'll be interesting. I will give a review of it when it finally comes out. But I looked at it. I'm like, it actually looks really interesting, and I'm not reading not that many mainline comic books right now. So why not buy into something new? That I haven't seen before. It's a character I don't know, and it's a world I don't know. So why not get in at the ground floor, as it were?
Yeah, if it feels fresh and original.
And then I already told 2 friends, so I've already done my part.
Well, there you go.
It's a pyramid scheme. All right, sorry to have taken so long there, but
I'm gonna have to bounce here in about a minute or two.
Okay.
But do me a favor, hold on to that post-con talk. Let's reconvene in a couple days if we can in the afternoon.
Yeah, we can do that.
For the next couple days, I'll be home right around this same time because I have some venting to do about posts.
Yes. Because
they can eat dicks.
I would love to hear that. Yeah, I could spare some time later this week. Absolutely.
Yeah, we can.
I'm let's see, today's Monday, right? So Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I should be home right around the same time.
I have a feeling what you're going to comment on, but
I'm aware. I already know what you're going to comment on, but but I will say,
we'll talk about it later.
There's one afternoon where I probably won't be available. I just don't know which day it's going to be. I think it's going to be Wednesday, because
because Friday I got to go to night shift. I'm covering because one of the other cooks is getting married, so the night shift cook's covering their weekend shift, and I'm covering the night shift's cook.
Fun.
Night cooks shift Friday, so Monday through Thursday I'll be home right around the same time as today.
Yeah, and I'm working a little bit later than usual this week, just to make more money and before vacation. And I've still got the other stuff to do. But I mean, if it's an hour long conversation, whoop-de-doo, we'll just throw it in.
I figure you can cut all this shit out when you're doing your thing.
What we're doing right now, I'll edit this out. Yes.
Yeah, like my whole schedule looks like it might be flip-flopping again because we were already down 2 people, and then one went out on COVID. As soon as she came back from COVID, she turned in her notice. So this weekend's her last weekend.
So did you really have COVID?
Yeah. Well, she did.
I know. I'm just making the joke.
Yeah, I got you. But now she's moving to Arizona or some shit. So
cool.
Now we're about to be down a 3rd person. So it looks like I might be going to night shifts for a while.
Yeah.
So I got to talk to my boss tomorrow. I talked to him some today. We're going to talk some more tomorrow. Get that.
So Sundays at 4 then.
No, if it plays out the way it's supposed to, I got you. The way we're talking is I told him Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday I can work night shifts.
Yeah.
As long as he absolutely gives me Sunday off because that's my time with my kids.
Yeah.
And then we record sometimes on Sunday. Yeah. And then Monday nights and Tuesday nights.
We're doing Mondays and Tuesdays now more than we're doing Sundays.
Monday and Tuesday nights I have to be off, so he can either give me Sunday, Monday off, or he can give me He can give me Sunday, Monday, Tuesday off, and I can still make my hours in those other 4 days. Yeah. And I told him Tuesday I could be a floater. I could just come in and do some prep stuff and get everything all ready for the rest of the week, bake off all the big desserts and stuff.
If you get Sunday and Monday, that works because those are my days off. So we can.
Because then I'll always be free to kind of pop in here whenever at that point.
And that gives us the ability to talk about Sunday night shows.
Yeah. And here's the hope, and that works out, because what that ends up meaning is I have to give up all Thursdays. So no Thursday practices. And it's funny, as I was talking to my boss, and I was like, I have to wait till the baseball schedule comes out and I'll tell you. And while I'm pulling up into my garage, the baseball schedule released on the app. So all our games are Monday and Tuesday nights, except for 2 of them are on Thursdays. So I might have to miss 2 games. So that actually works out in my favor and help keep us above water until we get some more fucking people in. And that might make it a little more easier to get a hold of each other to do shit.
Yeah. Actually, I might leave some of this in just to actually get content from you.
It's okay. You can cut me out. I just pop in, talk. I'll cut
out pertinent things, but I might just leave it in there because this is something we've been dealing with. Like, you know, our schedules have been kind of difficult within the last month or so, especially with.
I don't think I said anybody's names. If you're gonna leave it in, just leave it in. I don't
No,
care.
yeah, that's fine. But I'm just thinking like obviously with yours, you know, with the baseball schedule kicking back up, that's difficult. The hurricane kind of fucked things up for a minute, and then now you're talking about, you know, work schedule, that's difficult. So me, I've been playing. My hours have been changing up. You know, we had that issue kind of last week. You know, not knowing when I would be off work. So last week I was actually off early a couple days, but nobody else could be available in the time. And then this next week I'm working later because we're, you know, switching shifts. Somebody's taking off vacation, and then I'm going to be on vacation, which means I'm going to be gone between 4 and 6 days of the next week. So we have to record when we can do that. And then Rob's available when Rob's available. So we just kind of make that happen. So
it's going to be
always
fun.
Always a lot going on, and it's a busy October.
Yeah,
Fridays are going to be shitty for me regardless, because depending on who I'm working with, I can get out anytime between 6:30 and 7:30, and I have to drive home 45 minutes and then be on the podcast by 9. We usually get on there between 8 and 8:30. So
on Friday,
and everything checked, and then 9 o'clock is when we go live. So I'm gonna have to like rush right home, literally jump into a shower, hi bye to the wife and kids, and go close myself in my office for another couple hours. So Friday's gonna be shit.
So yeah, that's the same kind of nonsense that happens here too. You know, where you know I get off work, I come home, I'll eat, and then we'll spend however much time editing, shooting stuff, and then if we got to record, then I'm on that. But then Thursdays and Fridays, I'm doing live streams on my other channel. So Jessica will get home. We'll have enough time to get dinner out of the way, because Thursdays and Fridays are her later days. So she gets home later, and then I start streaming an hour after she gets home, or an hour and a half after she gets home. So I don't spend that much time with her until the weekend. And then if we got to do a backup recording, like we're in the middle of a Saturday afternoon when we would normally be doing shit, or things happen like yesterday, where yesterday just was kind of a mess in and of itself. You know, whoever,
it's weird. Like people just think it's very simple. Like the people that do this kind of shit for a living, like it's easy for them. It's a set schedule.
Yeah.
But anybody with any kind of younger kids, or your household has 2 main time jobs, like we all have full-time jobs and stuff like that. Anybody doing stuff like that, this becomes a fucking juggle show.
Yeah, especially because I'm doing on my end alone, I'm doing content creation for 3 other channels in the meantime.
Craziness.
On top of regular work and, you know, hobbies and anything else.
I told you, man, you need to teach not teach. Allow one of us to be able to record this too for those times that you're not available.
Yeah.
Because we could always not record to post, but like, let's say you're unavailable, me and Rob could jump on and do our weeks. You could jump and do your weeks, and then do your magic of editing when you have time to do editing.
Yeah, but then the hard part about that is having someone include their shit later when they weren't there for it. Then it sounds totally separate, and it ends up
kind of,
because I was gonna record a quick thing. I was gonna record Christine's stuff by itself, and I'm like, no, I'll just include it in this new top 5. It just makes more sense rather than do a 10-minute monologue. You know, it's like, because the interaction is more important than getting the one person's thing. You know, so
I do have to bounce.
Yeah,
so
go ahead and go.
I'm gonna make this a real quick week, because my week pretty much mirrored y'all's. Of course, we already talked about Letterkenny. The only thing on top of that I did is I did Dominion with my kids, like Thursday night or Friday. We finally got to watch it together after that whole shit show I talked about before. Yeah, Jurassic Park. Jurassic World.
Sorry.
So I finally got to watch that with them. We enjoyed it. For what it was, it's okay. Then we watched the one I did love, The League of Super Pets. Love that movie.
I need to watch that now that it's available.
Love it.
Love it. So fun.
Love it. It was just a good movie. It was just a feel good movie.
She'll like it.
It was a feel good movie, and Bobby 1000%ed it. There is one part in there that if you do not get into your feels at least a tiny bit, you're a fucking robot for sure.
I assume that's Ace's backstory.
Yes.
Yeah.
That whole, and it's not a long part, but that whole little bit, man, it just gut rips you.
Real quick, because you're here. I didn't get into it, but I did get the newest issue of Batman Beyond the White Knight.
That's the one that you sent us the picture. You said it was slight spoiler or whatever.
Well, it's because they show all the Batmobiles again that are still around even at that point, because they're at the Powers thing. So I don't think I mentioned it before, but they've introduced the version of Ace that was in Batman Beyond in this now. And it would just happen to be a dog that was hanging out and around and just happened to like Bruce. And now he's literally just taking it with him. So like he's busted out the Batman Beyond Batmobile and Ace is just riding along with him. And like he was a stray. He's like gross and he's slobbering everywhere and he stinks. And because the Joker's in his head, he's like commenting on it. Why did you bring the dog with you? He stinks so bad. But the way that story has developed with the Joker being in Batman's head, what happened at the end of this issue was so fucking good. It was a payoff for something that they didn't get to do before. And now because there's so much character conflict over the last decades or so, and like people are finally getting their heads out of their asses, but what they did with it without spoiling it was so fucking good.
Did you play Arkham Knight?
I did not, but I know a lot about it.
Okay, did they do kind of like what they did with Joker in that one?
No. Okay. Because this was because in this one he's Jack Napier who became the Joker, and then the whole thing with White Knight is that he becomes Jack Napier again. Because Joker could never beat Batman because he loved Batman too much. Jack Napier, on the other hand, knows everything about Batman and took him down through the legal system.
Gotcha.
To make things happen. And then, of course, all the whatever happened since then.
Gotcha.
But so I did... Go ahead.
So I did that. I just want to real quick because I do have to bounce.
Yeah.
And then we watched, my kids watched, dad napped on the couch for part of it, the Rise of Gru or the new Minions movie that's out.
Yeah.
Like I watched part of it. It was funny parts that I saw. It made me think of that conversation y'all were having with the songs earlier. And now that I'm about to say it, I'm brain farting. It wasn't Oh Sherry. It was, God damn it. There's another song where the Minions are singing.
Honey, Honey.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. It's the one where they're like working at the very beginning in the basement or whatever.
Yes.
They were doing a song and it took me longer than I care to admit to catch on to it. Like I'm like, why does that sound so fucking familiar? And then they hit a part and I was like, oh my fucking God, it's that song. I laughed. Like those things are stupid, but man, they're funny just for being what they are. And then I dad napped not too long after that.
Was it their version of Funky Town? I can't remember.
Nope.
That was from,
they do a version of Funky Town, but it's
a version of Funky Town. I can't remember.
That's the one with his brother in it or whatever.
That's from 3. Yeah.
God damn it. That is gonna fucking bother me. Okay.
Yeah, remember next time.
I'm looking it up.
Bring it back.
Yeah, we're Googling that shit.
Is this
I don't think it was their humming. Was it Fly Like an Eagle?
Hold on. This says Bang Bang.
Nope.
That's not it. That's the intro song.
Not I Swear, not Trying to Note, not Shining Star. Nope. 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 Nope.
Is that it?
Can't hear it. They're literally like in the basement.
Okay, so that's the intro. That's not the basement scene.
No, that's the Got to Get You Into My Life, I think.
Okay. Yeah, that's going to totally get hit by YouTube, probably. I'm looking. Because I don't know offhand. I haven't watched it yet.
Dude, like, as soon as I find it, I'm going to be so pissed off. I'm going to be like, it's this song. And you're like, God damn it. But anyways, the
Minion's building his lair. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's like literally towards the very beginning of the movie. Oh, Cecilia. There it is by Paul Simon and Garfunkel. Simon and Garfunkel.
Got it.
Cecilia, you're breaking my heart. That one. Like they were doing that and like it was driving me goddamn nuts. And it finally kicked in. I was like, that's what it was. But yeah, that I enjoy it for what it is. It is dumb fun, but it is fun.
Nice.
So that's pretty much my week in a wrap. I'm going to do baseball, which is another part of my week.
Yep, go do baseball.
Y'all have a blast, and I will catch y'all on the flippy floppy.
All right. So with Ricky gone, and us now having to change the schedule, and Rob's got to go here in a minute. Since you're the only one who did watch Hell of a Boss to a degree, I want to read Will's email.
I enjoyed it.
So
do you want me to go ahead?
Well, let me read Will's email because he's talking about the episodes, and then you can include your thoughts as we go.
Sure, absolutely.
All right. And so you said you got to episode 6, right? thereabouts.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's the Truth Seekers episode.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. That's one of the best ones, so that's a good one to end off on. So this email was from Will. He sent it in a few weeks ago because he watched the show due to kind of my recommendation on watching it, plus us watching Caleb Hiles cover Stolas's songs from the show. Disclaimer to anyone who hasn't seen Hell of a Boss, I'm going to spoil the shit out of this show. Also, since season 2, quote unquote. It's season 2, but they've only shown episode 1. So we'll just say whatever. All right. Episode 0, the pilot, is that no thoughts did what a pilot does, establishes stuff. And it did do that. Actually, I watched the whole first season and then watched the pilot episode. So I didn't get the initial setup for it. All right. Episode 1, Murder Family. Didn't notice Blitz's billboard the first time. Laughed my ass off when I saw it on the second view. The twist with hero mom and family being murderous lunatics was a nice touch. And the recurring gag of Stolas getting explicit on the phone over Blitz is equal parts revolting and amusing. I would agree on all of those parts. Because it is super cringe on that part. Mm-hmm. First of all, your thoughts on the animation?
If you like Invader Zim and you also liked Drawn Together, or any of those, like, I would say Comedy Central animation style shows, it's definitely up your alley. It's got the same, it's got that same feel as like Drawn Together, where it's more of an adult type animation.
Yeah.
But in the same respect, it's got that same style that Zim had. And I absolutely adore that style. I absolutely adore any art house that works towards that goal. Overall, like I feel like, I like the style works really well. They're short, but it's also like
there's a lot of story.
It's a lot to fit in for a 16-minute episode.
Yeah, very, very dense, and you follow along, but sometimes you'll miss little jabs. You'll miss background gags.
Exactly.
And it takes repeat watching, and you go, oh. Like when he said he missed the billboard the first time through. Mm-hmm. The reason Will wrote in the way he did is because he watched it and then wanted to watch it again and like organize his thoughts. So episode 2, Lululand, which one of my favorite episodes. Stolas' lullaby to Octavia is heartbreaking. Also insanely beautiful, in my opinion. First few lines sound more like he's trying to console himself, and then he realizes that he begins consoling her instead.
I had a very Nightmare Before Christmas PTSD flashback there with it.
Yeah. See, the dynamic between the two of them really is so sad. Yeah, Stolas and Octavia. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Seeing how far Stolas will go to make Via happy without realizing until the end of the episode that all he was really doing was making himself feel better, not her. Her genuine fear of losing her family and Stolas trying to make her feel better was heart-wrenching. Also, I like that the Imp crew was more of a B-plot, not to distract from Stolas and Via. Moxie trying and failing to win a thing for Millie was really funny. Yeah, that was great. I love Moxie and Millie. They're fantastic side characters, but if you catch it, Millie's voice completely changes from the pilot to the actual season. Because they didn't like the way it sounded initially, and it gave her that more country feeling once it really gets going. Also, she wields a gigantic fucking axe. When they finally get to battle, and she pulls out that massive axe, they're like, okay, this is what we're doing.
She's the bronze of it all.
Yep. And said the seeds planted for Blitz and Fitzaroli's connection totally went over my head on the first view. Yep. There's a lot of deep shit buried in there. He comes back later. Episode 3, Spring Broken. Oh my god, so much to unpack with Verosika and Blitz. That's that demon chick. Yep. Good to see Moxie sort of stand up for himself to Blitz. Also, Drunk Mox is adorable, and very much so.
Yeah.
Also, Blitz and Mox's relationship is funny in and of its own right, but of course, because Blitz keeps trying to intrude on him and Millie's marriage, like because he has nothing for himself, so he intrudes on their marriage. is also funny. The dumb little ways he tries to jump in, and they're like, "Get the hell out of here."
I also kind of feel for Luna a little bit too.
Luna's character is weird because she seems so side story, but they build out her stuff eventually. Like how she even okay, why is she his adopted daughter? Like, what the hell?
Adopted daughter, right?
She's a werewolf. Okay, so episode 4, Cherub. Nothing much to say. I found this episode rather grating, though I did enjoy the fight between the imps and the cherubs. Yeah, that's pretty good.
I think the part where they were literally showing like, oh, here's the best of life. And then it was basically going like sideways in the best way possible.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know, that entire episode probably, it honestly right now is my favorite.
Okay.
Just because it's like, it's that just level of dark humor that makes me chortle and lets me know that I'm probably not the best person inside.
Yeah. Well, you love Letterkenny, so that's already proven. All right, so number 5, or episode 5, the Harvest Moon Festival, which I thought was interesting. Blitz is unwilling or unable to admit his feelings towards Stolas, which is a big deal. And he says it really bugs me in this episode. It's like, I have no doubt that Stolas sees straight through Blitz, plus his Blitz ego seems to make him oblivious to this role, to the role fling... to the role his fling with Stolas is having on Stolas' family life. By the way, the opening of season 2 completely covers how we got there. Like, that is all backstory. That the opening to season 2 is so deep, it's ridiculous. Not that you've gotten there. I'm not going to spoil everything, but it is ridiculous how deep that is. Great seeing Moxie get some character development here. I love Blitz basically taunting Mox when he tried to kill the Hell Pig thing, only to later defend Mox from Stryker. Yep. Great development from Blitz, too, letting the veneer of smug asshole slip a bit, giving a real glimpse of how Blitz really feels about everyone, that he doesn't just see them as employees, but actually as friends, even though he never will admit it. Plus, the seething contempt Stella has for Stolas made my blood run cold. The fact that she's willing to go that far to get away from Stolas is purely terrifying to me. Oh, she is evil. Obviously she's meant to be evil. She's a demon daughter, so, but yeah, what happens with them is so, so bad. Even though Stolas kind of brings it on himself for doing what he's done with Blitz, his relationship with his wife and the effect it has on their daughter it's a little too real. Like, that's the thing about this show.
Yeah, it's very close to home for sure.
Yeah. I mean, anyone who's been cheated on.
Yeah, you and they even say it, like, you're probably going to be triggered on some of these things potentially.
Yeah.
But then again, I think that's the whole point of it, is that it's dark humor.
Yeah.
For sure. It's touching on things that are, well, kind of like everything else. Like, it touches on a little bit of reality, tries to make it somewhat amusing, but in a dark humor kind of way.
Yeah. But the funny thing about it is, so you're shown a cartoon, first of all. You're shown demons who are getting paid to go to the real world and kill people who wronged someone who died and ended up in hell. So, which is a funny premise in and of itself. We'll get revenge on the living for you, which is kind of a funny idea. But the fact that, like, it is kind of a Black Mirror being held up to you, that the things you find enjoying or cringy, or not necessarily cringy about it, is a reflection of you. Like, because so much of what they do is just human, but they show you that it's a demon doing it, so you're like, oh, that's fine, it's just a demon. It's like, no. Most of these things are human emotions. Concept of revenge, cheating, love, selfishness, all these things, but it's just cranked one notch higher than you ever think you'll do. So it's outside of your realm of possibility. But then, a prince of hell cheating with a low imp, on his also royal wife, is ridiculous.
Right.
But totally anything any one person can go through. Not to mention the concept of, closeted homosexuality. Just subtly throwing that in there, and making
or not so subtly throwing it in there.
Well, yeah, it's not subtle anymore, but the idea of it, because he still has to put on airs, even though everybody's not that stupid. Let's be honest here. It's a thing where you put on not put on air. What's the word I'm looking for? What the hell? My email just closed itself. I didn't even do anything.
Oh,
that was weird.
That's not a good sign.
Yeah, that was weird. But I like the characters in general. Luna is the only one that doesn't seem to get that much character development because they haven't done that much with her outside of when they were like the beach episode. And then like she's in her human form when they go to the real world or the world of the living, I guess. But I want to see more with her character. Hopefully season 2 will do more. All right, so episode 6 is the last one you've seen, so that's the last one I'll read. So Truth Seekers. Okay. Hands down my favorite episode. Great to see Moxie show some guts and see he's not as much of a pushover as he seems. The visions Mox and Blitz see, because they give him the drugs, right? Moxie's was a walk in the park compared to Blitz's. Holy shit, Blitz was dark. Yeah, no kidding. Seeing at least a glimpse of his pain and anguish, the fear he clearly holds by getting too close to someone, of how much pain and anguish he caused others. Though clearly Blitz doesn't share feelings for Stolas, it's obvious he's afraid of letting his guard down and actually expressing said feelings. And oh my god, that whole sequence of Stolas going full out demon to save Blitz was equal parts terrifying and gratifying to watch. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, because like you see his like little kind of princely frail owl form, and then he goes to this ridiculous giant demon bird to save them. It's just like, okay then, like he could just pull that out when he wants to. And I forget which episode it is. It might be the next one. I think it's the next one. You see other demons of that level. You see some of the other Goetias. And you do see Stolas' father in season 2, episode 1. So you actually get to see a higher level demon in there in a bit more of a.
So we'll get there.
So it's interesting to see, like, you presented this one little thing and you're like, oh, that's a demon? Are you kidding me? And then you see, whoa, and like, okay then. It's like, this is just his casual form when he's just hanging around the house. But I was turned on to the show by other YouTubers reacting to it. And somebody I knew had seen Has Been Hotel, which is the previous series that they've done. And they're tied together, but they're not directly crossing over. Same studio, same all that kind of nonsense. But and there's references back and forth, but no crossover as it stands. What
I find really ironic is that my oldest has been watching on YouTube, not YouTube, Netflix, Paranormal Park.
Oh yeah,
and it is definitely a TVY7 type show because it's got a lot of. The whole point is like basically it's an amusement park that was abandoned, and it's because it comes with a curse and a demon, and these two kids basically thought that they were showing up to try for a job available, and they wind up both becoming employees of the park. But in doing so, the boy, his dog, which is a pug, ends up becoming partially. He gets part of the spirit of the demon that inhabits the park, and he can talk, and he can do spells. And my wife happened to watch an episode with my daughter, and she was like, "You think this is a little too much for her?" I was like, "No." I said, "Definitely not." And I didn't go into detail as to why, but it's like it's almost. I'm not going to call it. I'm definitely not going to call it the light version of this show. But it is, it's kind of that same, like, you get this little demon that's basically trying to eat the pug because it wants back to its own realm. And the pug's like, "Nope, you're not. Nope."
That's funny. I might have to watch that. It sounds funny.
Yeah, it is. But here is the kick.
Okay.
The animation studio that does it is the same one that did Word Girl for PBS Kids.
I have no idea what that is.
So Word Girl is one of those, like, it's like an educational show for kids, but it's done in this like specific animation style.
Okay.
With the slightly and it's the eye sets and it's the shapes and all that. And I get a very big kick out of seeing animation studios branch out to things that are above the pale. In other words, like it would be like if you learn that the animators from Animaniacs went and did like a reboot of Cool World or something like that. You're like, oh hey, I recognize that animation style. Oh hey, I recognize those voices. And my daughter and I play this game where we try to pick up what the character voices also worked on.
Oh yeah.
And because there's so many that do the same voice work in other shows.
Yeah.
And we often do it too with like the animation styles. So we're like, oh yeah, that's exactly what that's from. So it's like taking a kids show and then adopting it to even a Netflix show where it's like a TVY something that's a little bit more mature themed. Is like, oh, this is a jump for them.
Yeah.
You're like, good for them. Good for them for trying. So yeah, I kind of enjoy it. But yeah, no, I think Hell of a Boss is definitely, like you said, it's definitely got those themes, and it's not for kids, people. But it is.
No,
I've enjoyed it, but that's because I get that style of dark humor.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And what's interesting, speaking of doing the voice work, so the guy who plays Blitzo is Brandon Rogers, who is a long-time YouTuber. Like, he actually does the voiceover for that. Because I was looking at the cast and I was trying to see more of the people in there, because a lot of the voices sounded super familiar. Somebody else in here. I'm trying to remember who it is. Oh, Brock Baker. I know Brock Baker's in there. He's a long-time YouTuber / voiceover artist. There's somebody else in the cast that I couldn't remember. Either way, I think the voice work on the show is fantastic. The animation, whether you like it or not, I think it's done really, really well. Because sometimes, especially with YouTube shows, some things can come across cheap. This show does not come across cheap to me. Like, it looks like a proper production studio to me. You know, if you go back to, say, the early days of Metalocalypse, for instance, you know, that looked a little sketchy, but it got better over time, you know? But this looks like it had a really good starting spot. Like, yeah, they still got to develop some of the character details, and the backgrounds maybe need a little cleanup. But, like, when you get to, like, the special effects and, like, the crazy animated backgrounds, especially for the music videos, you know, when they break into song... Like, right. Especially that lullaby from Stolas. Holy crap, the visuals are amazing in that. Like,
yeah, it really goes above, and it's polished for sure.
Yeah, it's like, this is a YouTube cartoon, and it's doing things that big budget studio movies would be putting out. Like, you could easily see that animated, like maybe go 3D with it, and DreamWorks easily could have done that. You know, the detail work and the way it looks. It's like, if you just gave it, I don't know, $10 million more, you can. It's not that big of a stretch, you know. Well, for money wise, that's really for a movie studio, that wouldn't be a big of a stretch to take another step in quality, right? But it's independent people making this and writing this, like, and they release the storyboards ahead of time usually when the season's coming, so you'll see certain scenes and stuff like that, and it's just, I can't wait for the next season to really get rolling.
It's very often that those studio houses get picked up for movies. I mean, there's a lot of content creators that they've gone on to like big jobs.
Yeah.
Or working for the bigger studios, whether it's like Illumination or it's, you know, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. If nothing else, the last thing we need to talk about just before we wrap this, the Black Panther 2 actual trailer dropped, not just the teaser trailer, and it still looks gorgeous.
Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
And I got more excited than with the first trailer.
I think the first trailer still makes me cry no matter what. But this one at least gets you back into, oh yeah, this is just going to be a movie, not just a heartbreaking scene, you know? And
right.
I wish they hadn't shown some of the stuff they show, but this is Marvel. If what they're showing you is happening, there's something generally bigger that they're still holding back.
Exactly.
And I am also very annoyed by toilers, otherwise known as toy spoilers, because like, how awesome would it have been to see the later edition of Ironheart's armor for the first time on screen instead of the frickin' toys being shown? So I won't.
Oh yes, the Wally version of the Eve from Wally version of
yes.
Of
if they painted it white, it would
100%
100% be Eve. But I mean, it's Ironheart's armor anyways. That's what it looks like, you know, just with MCU
but I do
flair.
like it, and the more I look at the actual toy, the more I get it.
Yeah.
And I know that it's basically like her version of the Mark One. You know?
Well, there is a Mark One version that she has in it that looks really rough.
Correct. Yes.
And then I'm gonna guess that's either the Mark II or the Mark III, because somewhere in there. But she's also got Wakanda tech. You know, she's in Wakanda, I guess, learning, because she's already been. If I remember correctly, she was sort of teased earlier in either Iron Man 3 or something else, where she was like her concept was sort of teased, and then I guess in theory she probably didn't get blipped. As far as we know, but either way, so as a secondary important character to the movie, you know, because she will matter later in her own series, and of course will be bigger in the Young Avengers and all that kind of crap that's coming later. Also a good addition of a young black important female in this movie that's going to be led by important black females within the storyline, because our main I love that we got to see in this one, we got to see M'Baku actually doing something.
Exactly.
So yay, more M'Baku, because I love that dude. What is it? Winston Duke is his name. He's such a good actor, and I love his M'Baku character. So to see him probably having to take a far more serious role in this movie because of what happens, instead of his slightly comedic version from the first movie, you know, where, you know, I will say that first scene was like, I am just joking, we are vegetarian. Like that. It's like that scene was, I will feed you to my children. I am just joking. We are vegetarian.
Seems excessive.
It was just funny that he was like scaring the white guy. But either way, I think this movie, and Bobby's talked about it a lot, I think this will be a turning point for the MCU as it currently is, because everybody hates the MCU as it currently is. I don't, but you know, it to me, this is the area between the breakup, you know, this is the rough ride before you figure shit out again, you know? And it wasn't just that we ended on a massive note with Infinity War and all that and Endgame, and we lost our main antagonist. The whole reason is like, this is the area in between. We've lost all these heroes. COVID happened, which made things worse. And then all the timeline got jacked up. Now we can do multiverse. Now we can do Fox properties. So, okay, this is going to be the mess in between that we have to sort out. And then the ship gets righted because the relationship within the universe is going to be reestablished, or a new relationship to the characters, and new characters will be established. But it did need a flagship.
It'll start remapping things in the way that they want it to be.
I mean,
and
considering it's the end of phase 4,
tight enough, and it's as long as it's not a bunch of stuff slammed together,
I think
then it'll be fine.
I think it'll be good. I mean, sophomore outings are always iffy, but some of the better sequels we've gotten were the sophomore, not the junior. So
Wrath of Khan.
Well, I just meant within the MCU. It's like I mean, just within the MCU, you know, it's like a lot of people don't like the second one, or actually like the second one better than the third one, you know, in theory, because most people like Winter Soldier more than they like Civil War, even though Civil War is just Avengers 2.5. Most people like Thor 2 better than Thor 3, you know, and vice versa. So, but hopefully this one will just establish a new ground, you know, new base, new foundation, even though it's wrapping it up. Also, so many people fell for that fake trailer that I felt bad. Like even Nerd Rage. I texted Bobby like the week after they talked about it. I'm like, bro, that wasn't real. Like, that was they chopped up the current footage, added old Black Panther footage, and then actually some stuff from other movies, and just slapped it together with a fake thumbnail that was clearly not Namor. Just some dude sort of photoshopped to look like him. I was like, man, I felt bad for so many people who fell for that shit. It was so bad. It's like, it's not even on a Marvel channel. It's like, you didn't even pay attention to where the trailer came from. It's like, you're not going to see their official trailer dropping on someone else's channel. And then you look and like, oh, this channel is known for putting out fake trailers. Oh, that makes sense.
Know your sources, people.
Know your sources before you get into it. So that's a good spot to wrap up. We will be talking about the Hasbro PulseCon stuff and then other types of media later this week, as you heard us discussing. You know, Ricky's schedule's crazy, as is mine. And then, of course, Rob fits in there when he can. But that'll be good. We got to get Ricky back in here because he didn't get that much time this week. But guys, do the like and subscribe thing wherever you're listening to us. If you're listening on a podcast app, if it has a rating ability, please rate it. Our numbers have dropped significantly on the podcast side, whereas our YouTube numbers have gone up significantly. So something's going on out there, or nothing is going on out there, which is actually probably the bigger problem. So like, download, subscribe, rate, and comment on YouTube. Whatever we're talking about, if you've got an opinion or thoughts, or you have any thoughts and questions, and I forgot to plug the email earlier, you can also write in, like Will did, at NowYouMadeItAwkwardMail@gmail.com, which is linked down below, so you don't have to try to remember it or spell it out. You can just copy and paste, because I haven't figured out how to hyperlink that to where you just click on it and it opens your email. I don't know how to do that. If you know how to do that, write into the email and tell me. But the comments help feed the algorithm, so we will draw in more people. We just gained a couple new subscribers this past week after losing one, so that was interesting. And be there for live premieres, which we try to do. I think what I'm going to do from now on is drop them at lunchtime when we're going to do premieres, so that more people will be awake. So that way we won't just have the 6 a.m. crowd. Or it's exactly. just me and Rob talking to each other.
You'll need something to listen to during lunch, folks.
There you go. I usually like to do it at drive time, but I'll leave that for just the audio format only. But I guess if I only do it for premieres so that we can chit chat, fine. You know, we'll see what happens. Either way. But we'll see you guys next time. And I have a lot of editing to do. I have 3 episodes to edit on top of everything else I'm doing. But we'll see you guys next time. Okay, bye.
Bye. Bye, and thanks for listening, everyone.
Yep. Just say K bye. The outro is K bye.
Sorry, K bye. K.
Bye. And now I wait awkwardly while I find the thing
while you try to find the button.
I see her rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots and a sexy body full of tats.